Hello everyone, this is called The Sunflower Cycle by Peter Watts. It is comprised of 3 short stories and 1 novella. The first one is inside of Reach for Infinity, and this is called Hot Shot. That is the first story. This is the novella, The Freeze Frame Revolution. This is in a book I owned for a while and just didn't realize it when I was reading it many years ago, the Beyond the Rift, and this holds The Island. And this holds a story called Giants, and that is a Clark's World magazine, which I've never seen or owned before until I found this out. So I found out about this series from One Level Down by Mary G. Thompson, a simulation scenario that digs deeper than the Matrix movies ever did. A little blurb by Peter Watts, and it has Freeze Revolution on it. So since I've enjoyed some Peter Watts, I decided to take a look and see what that is, and immediately decided I loved the premise and went and got it all. So this is in science fiction, and well, let's blend that together in the science world, because you have the construction of a system of wormholes to get from star to star. So with a warp drive, you got your spaceship, you expand the space at the back, you contract it in the front, and away you go. But with a wormhole, you have one point and then another point where you're trying to go. So how do you get the other point there? Was something I always wondered about. Can you project it and just blam and open up a wormhole? In some science fiction there is, because wormholes might sort of be underneath all of reality, and if you can open one up, then you might get from one star to another. Or you need to build the entrance here and get to another star slower than light and build the exit there, and then continue to do that throughout the galaxy. And that's what this contains. And so you have a situation here where they spend tens of millions of years building these gates as they go along. They're not awake for all that time. They are simply woken up when a build needs to be done, depending on the individual qualifications that someone contains. There's like 40,000 people living on this asteroid converted into a starship, going I think it was like 20 or 30% of the speed of light. So since they've been, 65 million years ago, dinosaurs looked up and saw a big bright light in the sky, and kablam, they went extinct. So that's how long these guys have been building these gates, from the 22nd century. And you wonder, well, if they've been going for tens of millions of years, what happened to the civilization on Earth? Did they start tiptoeing out in the galaxy, and they've been having space opera adventures while they've been off building these gates? Or the thing I wondered about, and it doesn't get too deeply into it, when they build one of these gates, occasionally it flashes, it's on, and they're on their way to the next star. Something comes out of that gate, and in one of the first the first mention, it was some kind of goblin-looking thing. Some monster came out of there and tried to chase them down. And so you wonder what's going on in there. A long time ago, I read about, it was 2 authors, Jerry Pournelle and Larry Niven, who went to attend a talk given by Stephen Hawking. And he was talking about singularities in black holes. And he said these things emit, and it's completely random. And so given enough time, they could emit anything at all. And this startled the 2 authors. They're like, did he just say what we thought he said? You could go inside a black hole and there's the devil himself swinging his little forked tail or something. And this shocked them for a while and kind of changed their view of the universe. And so maybe something like that's happening here, or maybe there's something underlying the universe and they come out through these gates and we poke a hole in their worlds. And so it's entirely possible, once these gates were made, people from Earth said, all right, let's go use these gates. And creatures came out and decimated them. And so these tens of thousands of people that are on this starship building these gates, they could be the only people left alive. They themselves were created, engineered. They're human, but advanced. At the age of 4, it mentions in the first story, they were equivalent to 8-year-olds. So they're very intelligent and well educated to do their work. And I thought that was a huge ethical dilemma, because you literally created conscious people to go on this journey, and that's all they're ever going to do. Now it's not. It depends on which character you're talking about here, but you go on this journey, you're asleep for most of it, you wake up and spend some time awake to not just build a gate, but to do some recreational things too. They have full functioning VR, but some of the characters don't like this idea, that they're just wasting their time in this universe. And some are like, we're good with it, and the mission's important. And you get I think there's at least a 3-way dance between this rebellion that's trying to take place in this novella against the characters called Chimp. And Chimp is the AI that runs the starship that's building the gates. You know, Chimp, they keep mentioning that Chimp is really stupid for an AI. And it's done on purpose, so that some hyper-intelligent thing just doesn't go off and do its own thing. It is extremely well controlled via its programming to only do this mission. It doesn't flat out say, unless I missed it, that Chimp is fully conscious. Certainly acts that way, but it doesn't really say one way or the other. And what gets people the most, what they fear the most, is that as new things arise deep in its programming, there's subroutines that are just waiting to be triggered, and they don't know what Chimp is capable of if these subroutines get triggered. Some people could never be awakened again because they're never needed. Some people could be eliminated because they will never. Well, did I just contradict myself? They'll sleep again. If they're never needed again, they could be eliminated. And it's a frightening prospect. And Chimp, he's just Chimp being Chimp. And a rebellion comes out involving getting their freedom back and taking the ship from Chimp. Peter Watts he's not all hope and sunshine in his books. Things can be very bleak here. There is not an ending to this. There's no collected version as yet. From what little bit of digging I did, there will be more of this. I'm wondering myself, will he just finally make a final story, and that's where you get a collected version, and you have to get the collected version to get that final story? I have no idea. It's something I'll check on every so often to keep on with it, and I will, because I thoroughly enjoyed this. The characters, the sci-fi cliche of it's all about the idea and the characters are just kind of there. No, I think the characters are done just well enough in short story fashion that when they come into conflict, it has a greater impact. Especially when you get, for example, and I'm not going to give anything away here, but like there is a betrayer in the novella, and then in one of these other short stories, the betrayer is the betrayer afterwards is the viewpoint character. It's really good that way. I loved it when it comes up that way. The one I think you're looking through most is, if I can remember to pronounce this, Sunday, that's her first name, Asmundin. And she's, I guess, qualifies as the protagonist in some way. She's a bit abrasive, bit of a smart ass, and in some places lacking sympathy, or maybe some would be due, but she's a real bit of a hard ass, and I don't know if likable is really the word to describe, but interesting anyway as a lead character, at least in where she comes up. Good series, and I am looking forward to more from it when it comes around. The next book I am going to read, this is a collected version. I never knew how to pronounce her name. C.J. Sharia, Citing. This is an old popular series, and I am just getting around to it for the very first time. Let's see, Citing, winner of the Hugo Award for Best Novel. This is bestseller C.J. Sherry's masterpiece, a multi-layered epic of interstellar cabals and dark human passions, genius, blackmail, and sacrifice, murder, resurrection, and the betrayal of innocence, and loyalty stronger than death. Citing, the classic novel of C.J. Sherry's Merchanter universe, a profound exploration of genetics, environment, nurture, society, and the secrets of human intelligence. Citing, the saga, it's set up that way, I'm reading it right. The saga of two young friends trapped in an endless nightmare of suspicion and surveillance, of cyber-programmed servants, and a ruling class with century-long lives, and the enigmatic woman who dominates them all. So this is a chonker. There's probably going to be a couple weeks before I get through it, but that's perfect because this is not going to be my next video next week. The next one is going to be my top 10 book or series of 2025, and that'll be next Monday. I hope you have a great Christmas. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.